Psychology is a scientific study of the mind and behavior. It includes studies of conscious and unconscious phenomena, as well as human thought, behavior development, personality, emotion, motivation, and more. There are several field of psychology studies, such as cognitive psychology, social psychologists, clinical psychologists, biological psychologists available. And psychologists pursue four brain goals of psychology: description, explanation, prediction, and control or modify the behaviors. The ultimate goal is to gather knowledge to benefit humanity. The first goal of psychology is to observe and describe a behavior. This description should be done in most accurate way as possible to avoid subjective thinking or opinion. A clear and fair description helps to make you clear about the phenomena to be studied. The second goal of psychology is to explain the causes or reasons of the behavior or phenomenon that was described. With the existing theories and knowledge, psychologists try to find out why such behavior or phenomenon happen. On a test, such a hypothesis will be applied to find out the reason. Third goal of psychology is to forecast a future event. With the analysis between the different variables, prediction can be accurately done with the purpose of helping in modifying the behavior. The last goal of psychology is to control, modify the existing behavior which needs to be corrected. The last step is modified by the help of psychologists with their professional technique. There are some examples that can be applied in the four goals of psychology. The smoking behavior between men and women. We find out that smoking behavior of men is more than women. But why? The reason being is the men facing more stress than women in real life. So let's predict that because of their smoking behavior, men are more likely to have health risk problems such as lung cancer. So in order to control and modify, psychologists have to provide an effective way to let men quit from smoking, keeping good health habits. There are few approaches that guide psychological research to tackle the questions of why we do what we do from different angles. Biological approach is one of the perspectives at how your nervous system, hormones, and genetic affecting on your behavior. It explains the connection between mental and brain, nerves and hormones to explore on how the thoughts, moods, and actions are shaped. All of the choices made are based on the physical body's need. The way you do is because of how the brain is built. The psychodynamic approach says that our lives are greatly influenced by events in our childhood, shaping our personality. The traumatic childhood experiences can remain in the unconscious, can later lead to a mental disorder. Humans progress through psychosexual stages during the development of the psyche in 5 stages, which including oral, anaphalic, latency, and genital. Behavioral psychology don't believe in free will. Behavior will be formed and trained in a certain way through a system of reinforcement and punishment in terms of environmental factors. For example, economic conditions, social and cultural norms, it can affect to an individual's behavior. The influences of behaviorism affect us on our daily life. For example, how to let people go to work and get paid for their work. The social cultural perspective is an approach to understand why humans behave the way they do. Psychologists believe that by examining the rules of the social groups or subgroups in which the individual is a member, from that, we're able to understand human behavior and personality development. Social cultural factors, including of attitudes, cultural differences, discrimination, regional differences, can affecting on a human's thought, feeling, and behavior. And last will be the evolutionary approach. It explains that the personality and individual differences have evolved to provide us advantage in survival and reproduction as a functional product of a natural selection. Evolution is not a theory, but a fact. The fossil record shows that species has changed through time. They have diverged and transmuted and become entirely new species. Most of the people do not realize how widely the job opportunities for students major in psychology. There are wide choices in the job market open for psychologist expert. The most common is psychologist, In their work, they draw on an ever-expanding body of scientific knowledge about on how humans thought, act, and feel, and information will be applied in their areas of expertise. Many psychologists work in more than one setting. For example, sports psychologist is concerned on the psychological health of sportsmen. How is the effect of physical activity affecting on the performance? Usually they are hired to serve as a consultants for sport teams, along with training coaches in developing the psychological programs, also doing some counseling sections. Educational sector is one of the field with big demand on education psychologists, skill counselor, trainer, and more. In the brief history of the relationship between the institution of modern psychology and education, psychologists have been dedicated to the scientific understanding of the nature of development in nature. Early childhood education is getting popular nowadays, not only in terms of providing psychological advices on educational related, helping parents and school to understand the psychological problems of a child for better build of one characteristic and confidence. School counselors work with troubled children, at home or in school, helping parents in identifying the problems and concerns of their child. Trainer in education sector could be found in most big companies, providing professional psychological training to their employees. It's a part of human nature to want to develop ourselves and to live the best life as possible as we can. The self cannot only change content over time or become more efficiently organized, but can rise to a quantitatively superior level through the radical reconstruction of its underlying assumptions through a development in the form. Self-development involves mental, physical, social, emotional, and spiritual growth that allows a person to live in a satisfying life, at least one of himself satisfied on what he owes. By working on improved spirituality, it means that a deeper connection is to be created with things or humans around you. This is a lesson to learn more about oneself and about life. If someone has a strong mental control, he or she can take care of relationships, career, and education better than the others. Keeping mentally strong means that you will have a better capacity for learning and knowing how to handle reactions. Thus, this process will never end and is a lifetime homework. Emotion is the most difficult part to work on as this is not something that can be easily controlled. However, it can be worked by not allowing emotions to control over you. Not to leave yourself exhausted can help in building an emotionally strong characteristic, and this should be worked on gradually. Social development and communication skills are to be needed in order to be socially successful. Start talking to people may help to exploring the communication skill. Learning a new language will further the social development, get to know more people with different culture. The most important thing in life is health. Without a healthy body, you can't do anything even though you own the world. Current situation of COVID-19 has brought a lesson to the whole world. Eating a proper food, having a healthy lifestyle with necessary sport activities will help to build a strong physical development to ensure a good health condition. There are many perspectives in psychology to explain the behaviors and minds, each of them helping humans to understand more of who we are, why we are, and how the past can affect on current us and future. It's difficult to understand on a person's thinking and attitude. Psychology can help us more to understand us, people around us, even the world.